Good evening. Welcome to another episode of Blood, Sweat, and Tears. Mr. Vito here with Zach Rum, wide receiver, room 1, Castle Black, Brian Bruner, on the first full night of NFL preseason.
Yes.
It only took about 20 minutes to have a fairly significant injury with Anthony Richardson getting obliterated on a missed block by DJ Gibbons. We will get to there in a little bit, but how's everybody doing?
Doing well. I mean, don't like to see a potential fantasy stud quarterback like Richardson get hurt, but we'll see. I think the news might be that Giddens got him destroyed, which that might bump him down to not Johnny Taylor's backup. We'll see on that. We'll see about the hand. I mean, they're claiming it's just a pinky, which who knows, maybe the pinky isn't needed so much. He doesn't throw that much or that well to begin with, so he could still end up being out there. All the reports were that he really did take that starting job back, and it was going to be his gig to lose to Daniel Jones. So we'll see how it plays out. I'm sure we'll get some reports on that said injury over the next day or two.
Yeah, doing well. Happy to be here again tonight. And yeah, it's very interesting to see. I mean, Richardson is kind of in that tier of Justin Fields or back. I'm dating myself at least 5 years, if not close to 10, with Fitzmagic, where it's an amazing fantasy quarterback, but replaceable in real life. And that kind of seems to be where Richardson's fallen. So we'll see. He's missing a lot of time. He missed a lot of time earlier, already out in this game. It'll be interesting to see how he fits in, if this is the last straw and Daniel Jones is finally the starter and Richardson sits for a while. Maybe it becomes kind of like Bryce Young last year, where he sits for 6-7 games, then takes over more. So it's going to be interesting to see what the Colts do. But at least they're not the Browns right now with their QB situation. So
to probably nobody's surprise, Daniel Jones did not look very good. Riley Leonard looked the best of the three. So to be determined there.
Yeah, it's not good news for the Colts if he looks the best of the three.
Well,
yeah, some messy old quarterback rooms out there, man. The Saints, the Browns.
Well, tonight we got some risers, fallers, and got some messy running back situations, messy wide receiver situations with a lot of drafts coming up soon. Got to know which ones to avoid, maybe which ones to buy low, find a sleeper, a diamond in the rough. Derek from the page DRock313 does a great article every year on the messiest running back rooms. Thought we'd expand a little bit on that to include receivers and running backs. We'll touch on that tonight.
Yeah, look forward to it.
And first, we'll start off with our Underdog player of the week, everybody's favorite rookie, Travis Hunter. Got some interesting statistics here that we will take a deep dive into on, do we want to go higher or lower? First is 4.5 receiving touchdowns. What do we think on that?
That's a tough one. I'd almost go lower on that, just because it might be my expectation of Hunter. I think he's going to be consistent, not as much the big play guy like people expect. I think he's going to get you very consistent points, especially in PPR leagues. And for me, that's, outside of maybe some gadget plays and stuff in the red zone, it's hard to not target Brian Thomas Jr. heavily in that area. That I almost see, like a jet sweep or different things for Hunter to get touchdowns in the red zone, and that's not a receiving touchdown for this line. So, yeah, I think that's something I got to go lower on.
I guess I would take the higher if I was forced. Like, I guess first and foremost, I would say that's a line I just wouldn't bet on because it's there. But if I was forced to take one, I think I would take the higher. But I don't like it. I just wouldn't like that bet. I don't think either of them is a safe money bet. I think yet another example of Vegas really slapping that line right where it should be. But I lean towards all the hype on Hunter and all the positive reports from people smarter than me that just said he's just one of the most pure talents that they've seen in years, and that he's the most gifted receiver in this class. And he does have the Brian Thomas to compete with, but outside of that, I don't think Brenton Strange or that messy running back room we're about to talk to are really going to be much of any threat. So you figure if Trevor Lawrence even rolls out 27, 28 touchdowns, Hunter could easily have 5 of them. Probably has 5 of them if Lawrence gets up anywhere near the 30 mark. So I'll take the over, but don't love it.
I'd go lower on that one. There aren't that many touchdowns that are abandoned from last year. Parker Washington was second on the team with 3. And then just Hunter being on the field twice as much. I don't want to speak it into the universe. We went 20 minutes before an injury in preseason week 1. He's going to be in harm's way twice as much. I'm going to go lower on 4.5.
That's an interesting point
Then
for all these.
You come right back with.
Yeah, that's an interesting point for all these, especially the offensive ones are. He plays more defense. What happens if he ends up being on the defensive side of the ball more and they like him more there? These are very interesting higher lowers to go through.
Definitely. So the next one is the total TDs. There's definitely some weirdness going on here. It says total TDs 9.5, but then it only offers the higher at like a 3.6 odds.
Yeah. So I think that's I don't think that's something you can pick a lower on. I think that's a multiplier for your bet if you really think he's going to pop off.
Right. Okay. So that makes sense. So that I just wouldn't. I mean, maybe you throw $5 on that in case he has some crazy rookie season, but just to get 3.6 your money. But no, 9.5 seems obnoxious. Given the Vegas line is 4.5 receiving touchdowns, he would have, maybe he gets lucky and gets 2 pick sixes. Okay, now we're at 6. They're expecting him to get 9. I don't think they're going to have him running the ball. I don't think they're going to start doing gadget shit with him. So, yeah, I'm definitely not touching. If it let me bet the lower, I would.
Definitely agree.
Yeah, so that one's kind of an oddball. I don't think it needs too much discussion beyond that. The 749.5 receiving yards, another one that's nice, right there where it should be. I would, just like the touchdowns, I would lean the over with, again, Brian Thomas really being the only obstacle for him to get around, and I like the Liam Cohen offense that's coming in there. I think they will work better than the Jags have in recent years, and I think I'm comfortable taking 749, the over on 749.5 for receiving yards.
Yeah, my initial thought for that was to go lower, and then when you look at it, 750 yards is only 45 yards a game if he plays all 17 games. So we're going to look at it 45 yards game, sure, even if he plays both sides of the ball. I think he's going to be very consistent with receptions, with yardage. It's hard to think he might not hit that. I have a gut feeling that he's going to end up playing more defense than offense. I know the Jags don't have great wide receivers. Parker Washington's the wide receiver 3. I just have this gut feeling that they're going to want to slow other offenses, knowing that even if Hunter plays on the offense, they're not going to keep up. And so I think Hunter will play more defensive side to help slow the opposing offense. So just on that, I would probably go lower on the yards myself.
Yeah, it's a tough one. If they're in garbage time like the Jaguars typically are, it was kind of tough to gauge a full season of Brian Thomas because Trevor Lawrence played 10 games. They had Mac Jones for 7, but the wild card of the Liam Cohen offense, I mean,
So let me give you this. I just looked up while you guys were talking what the Vegas odds are, the over-under line for Trevor Lawrence's passing yards for this season. 3,700. You're telling me Vegas says that Trevor Lawrence is going to get 3,700 yards. His 1B target isn't getting 750. That just doesn't make any mathematical sense.
Yeah. Well, I wonder if Lawrence isn't going to be that. If Lawrence is going to get that high.
Right. Well, that's the over under. That's not.
But yeah,
it's fine that he's getting there. But
that's a high over under for Lawrence for Hunter's to be 750. You're right on that.
Right. So I'm saying he doesn't get that. He gets 3,300. Still.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make any sense. Like again, Brenton Strange, whatever he gets out of the running backs in the passing game. I think Diami Brown is like the clear-cut third wide receiver there. I mean, unless Hunter just becomes like a full-time DB or Lawrence gets hurt or something really just out of the norm happens, I say that's 750 for Hunter's a bet that I'm pretty thrilled to take the over on.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
Bet we got the next one here. 1.5 100-yard receiving games.
Higher.
Hunter's electric.
It won't take much just to to
get 2. We just need 2, baby.
I go higher on that. He's electric. Even if I don't think he's going to hit 750, give me 2 games of 100 yards. Yeah.
Actually, I got the current game going on my tablet, my second tablet here, second screening, and some running back for the Seahawks just had an explosive play, number 36. I'm like, who the fuck is that? His name's like Holani or something like that. Holani. I've never even heard of the kid, but good for him. He just had a nice play.
Nice.
Drew Lock is playing quarterback. I saw him just complete a pass to Jake Bobo in preseason news. Drew Lock to Jake Bobo, ladies and gentlemen.
That's the best part about the preseason is these names that these players have just are too funny out there. That's what I love about it.
That's what preseason's all about.
Yep.
Scrappy guys trying to make the roster, and then in week 13 or 14, the most pivotal time of the season when injuries have piled up, you're like, oh my God, I'm really starting that guy I saw in the preseason in a fantasy football playoff game.
Yep.
That's why we play, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
How many just terrible fifth on the depth chart running backs have come and mattered in the fantasy playoffs, man? There was one for the Redskins / Commanders a few years back. The fantasy footballers always bring him up, like Mike put him in his championship lineup and he won him the title. He's so irrelevant. I forget the name. He never played before that, never played after that, but had like a 25-point game in week 17 3 or 4 years ago. That's why you got to know these people. We got to listen to the pod. You got to scour the depth charts. You got to watch the preseason, baby.
Got to watch the preseason.
Yeah. Last line is Hunter getting 2 interceptions.
Yes, in one half.
Yeah, I think that's probably an easy over. The dude has, super impressive ball skills, hands and ball skills, and just knows how to find the ball. And I think he'll get his 2. I think they'll put him out on the field enough to get his 2 on defense, even if they end up primarily using him on offense. Because if they are using him on selective defensive plays, they will put him in on known passing plays. He'll be in on 3rd and longs, and he'll have every opportunity to ball hawk. So that's an easy over for me too.
Yeah, especially with the division he's in. So, I mean, he'll probably get 2 interceptions just in divisional games.
I can just see the ball coming off of Anthony Richardson's sideways pinky. It already wasn't going to be accurate. Now it's even a little less accurate.
Yep.
And then they bench Richardson for that pick, and then here comes Daniel Jones, and he throws him another one, baby. It'll happen in the first game.
That'll be week 14 and 18 against Indy for those scoring at home, but the Jaguars open the season against the Panthers. Might have 2 Bryce Young interceptions served up before you know it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
True.
That was a fun.
Move
outside
on
of
our,
9.5, that's a pretty fun. Some pretty fun lines to work with there.
Yeah. Great ones.
Remember, use code word holics when you head on over to Underdog. Match your first deposit up to $1,000.
Tell them the Holics sent you.
Yeah. Awesome. Let's get into it.
Let's do it.
We got our top 7 fallers and risers we'll dive into, and we'll always go with the bad news first. We'll get the good news in the risers, then we'll talk about a lot of these awkward rooms, which might be some bad news, but our top 7 fallers to kind of discuss as we go through.
Number 1, the entire
bad news Browns.
Yep. I mean, it's hard not to put them at the top spot with you're looking at what the hell's their QB room. Then they sign another quarterback. Then when you look at their receiving room, it's Jerry Jeudy, but then it's, was last year a fluke or not? Who else is in the receiving room? And then their running back room is a mess. They haven't even signed their second round pick yet because of all the legal trouble we might be into. Like it's so hard not to put the Browns organization, just see them just put them up there, and it's hard not to laugh, but you feel bad laughing at them.
It's tough.
This is like
try to be positive about it. Like the most positive you can spin I could put on the Browns here is like, all right, so of this messy ass room, at least let's just look at it for this year. We all are praying that Joe Flacco is at the helm week 1, which all reports sound like he is. I think them already announcing that Shador is going to start the first preseason game is more proof probably that they want to keep Flacco safe and healthy for week 1. So that's a positive for all the pass catchers. Joe Flacco, I said it last week, I'm going to trademark this. He is white Jameis Winston. He is fucking great for fantasy football. He will just chuck it and fucking rip it 45, 50 times a game, and he still has the arm to do it. So I think that would be wonderful for Jeudy, wonderful for Tillman, who I guess is their 2, and then Njoku and Cannon. Or I think there's talk of them running a lot of two tight end sets with those 2 because they like Fannin, obviously. So I think that that is a semi positive that for not for the Browns organization. If you're a bottom of the league franchise, it's not very exciting to be rolling out 49-year-old Joe Flacco week 1 and then dealing with your later round drafted rookies after and just trying to figure out your quarterback room. So, again, Flacco started week 1. That might even be a little bit of a positive. With the running backs, the whole Judkins thing is brutal. The team that so desperately needs to get talent, they spend their super high second-round pick on this guy, and then all this shit comes out with the domestic violence and arrests, and we have, again, not even signed yet. He's not even on the team. Even if he is, he might immediately get put on the exempt list and not even be able to play first week, and who knows about maybe future suspensions beyond that. So now you got Jerome Ford and I believe 4th-round drafted Dylan Sampson.
Many people were very excited about Sampson, and then he got stuck behind Judkins,
So maybe the positive spin on this is maybe we get a better look at Sampson now, and they probably roll out Ford as the majority snap guy the first week or 2 because he's been there and knows the role, yada yada. But if Sampson's as good as people thought he was, maybe this Judkins thing is a blessing there, and you end up getting a good starting running back out of your 3rd, 4th round rookie pick, Dylan Sampson. And then for the receivers, it's just, again, if it's Flacco, cool. If it's any game that Flacco is not starting, like how do you really feel about rolling out any of those pass catchers? Because I don't feel good about it.
That was going to be my question. If Flacco is not at the helm, who do you feel comfortable starting fantasy football wise on the Browns?
Judy's a
Maybe
roll of the dice flex for me. That's probably it.
What about Njoku?
He's a streamer, I guess, but we just don't know we don't know shit about what Dylan or Shador is. So if one of them ends up being capable, then I guess Njoku is at least a streaming option. But we don't know. They might both just suck, and the whole team might be unusable if it's not Flacco.
Yeah, and that's the difficult thing here for fantasy purposes is if Flacco's not the helm, you want to stay as far away from the Browns as possible, which is another reason why they're top of our faller list is if everything hinges on a 6-year-old quarterback for fantasy, that you don't want to trust that.
Yeah. And the other part that sucks is even if we get locked in Joe Flacco to start the year and he's, locked in week 1 starter, I'm going to take a real hot take here. The Browns are probably going to lose a fucking bunch of these games to start the season. So now our bottom of the league messy franchise that spent 2 draft picks on Shador and Dylan Gabriel. Oh, by the way, they traded, I think it was a 5th to get Kenny Pickett. So look at him as like they spent a draft pick on as well. At what point are they 1-5 or even 0-3? Do they go, okay, Flacco, sit down, let's see what we got with these other younger options, and now it just all crumbles to shit for our fantasy purposes. So yeah, man, it's fucking messy. Even if we get a guarantee of week 1 Flacco.
Yeah, the Browns being a faller could be evergreen content that we could just recycle year after year after year. I thought they had it figured out with Deshaun Watson, even though with all his question marks, you might not have wanted to sign him to a massive deal. They did. And then they had some good picks this year, and then they picked Dylan Gabriel 94th when you needed wide receivers. Like, the next receivers off the board, Dante Thornton was 108.
Yeah.
That would, like, any receiver, like, the picks right after Jamiri Deke, Deontay Thornton, Arian Smith, a slew of running backs. Jalen Lane was pick 128. All of those guys would have helped any Browns quarterback, but they already signed Pickett and Fleck. It just makes no sense. They must love adding names to that quarterback jersey.
And they could have just sat at 2 and took Travis Hunter and added a fucking high-end receiver who can also help them on defense. But no, what did they trade him for? What did it end up being? An edge rusher?
105 and a future first, at least they got.
At least they did get a future first. You can not getting a future first. But
they're going to mess up that future first.
Of course they're going to fuck it up. They did what they had no way of knowing the whole Judkins thing. But yeah, that's just so perfect Cleveland Browns. They desperately need help. Their second highest draft pick goes to a guy that might not even touch the field this year. It's fucking terrible. I just feel bad for them. I know a couple Browns fans. I'm like, dude, that's just got to be Jesus. That's brutal. I've got to be an Eagles fan my whole life. There was some messy ass years, like right after, right before Andy Reid got there, and most of my childhood was messy. But from the year 2000, really, 99, 2000, when like McNabb and Andy Reid got there, the Eagles have been a fucking great franchise, man. We're up amongst the league leaders in overall regular season wins and playoff wins and shit. So I count my lucky stars every day that I don't have to root for the fucking Cleveland Browns. What a shit show.
Yeah. Continuing the list of shit shows, Freiermuth as our number 2. For me, there's two main things that have him so high on my followers. Obviously, the first is Jonnu Smith, him going to the Steelers. Secondly, it's Aaron Rodgers. I don't want to speak too much on what we've done before, but Rodgers does not target tight ends. He does not consistently target his tight ends, which is telling me DK Metcalf's going to have an amazing year, and Freiermuth is going to drop in value so hard and fast. Smith is at least older. He's going to get on the same page as Rodgers more. I think Jonnu Smith might be the tight end that does decently for Rodgers, but boy, I had such high hopes for Freiermuth, and then Rodgers went there and Smith went there, and I'm all out on him now.
Yeah, I mean, redraft leagues, Freiermuth's a complete afterthought. I mean, he's not going to get drafted anywhere.
No.
And unlike barring Jonnu getting hurt or something, and like the Arthur Smith offense does feature the tight end generally. Like, so if Jonnu was out any given week, Freiermuth might be a stream. But yeah, in redraft leagues, he's a complete afterthought. For dynasty purposes, he's certainly young enough that he's not like a cut or anything like that. But you can't expect anything out of him. I mean, barring some, again, Jonnu injury or just some weird circumstance, or even like a DK injury, and they're running a lot of 2 tight end sets or something. But yeah, I mean, you're right. Rodgers doesn't target the tight end. Freiermuth definitely a faller due to all those factors.
And Arthur Smith loves him some Jonnu Smith. I think Arthur Smith takes Jonnu Smith in like the 3rd round of his home league.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And he was just chomping at the bit, like, can we please Jonnu Smith? Can we please? And they're like, why do we already have a good tight end? And he just, that is a mess. Freiermuth is a great dynasty buy, but other than that, it really sucks for this year.
Yeah, I would call him a dynasty buy low. Yeah, for sure. Because, I mean, at this point, you could probably get him for next to nothing.
I got an offer earlier this week of I would send Pat Bryant to receive Freiermuth, and I just couldn't do that who knows who's the wide receiver 2 in Denver.
I'll take the shot on fucking Bryant there.
Yeah, that's why I kept Bryant there. I couldn't, like, 2 months ago before Jonnu Smith got there, I would have taken that in a heartbeat. But now I'm holding off on that.
Yeah, man. So next on our list, Gabe Davis. Gabe Davis, Christ, is he even a faller? He's been down at the bottom of the pool for a while now.
Imagine getting cut because you're worse than Dynami Brown and Parker Washington.
Well, imagine you get cut. The Jaguars were like, we're just going to give you $31 million just to leave, please.
Yeah.
And then
that hurts my UCF heart.
And then 31 other NFL teams went, you know what?
He's not that bad. I mean, we've seen the home run plays.
Yeah. Imagine going from that in Buffalo, where you get him 20 points every other week, and then no one's wants him on a team now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's 31 other NFL teams that are like, you know what? These 5th stringers and practice squad guys we have, we're good. We don't need you guys. It's amazing. So he's an odd one. He had that, if that 4 touchdown playoff game on national TV never happens, Gabe Davis might have been out of the league 2 years ago.
That's true.
This is the reality of it. So yeah, he's, like I said, he might not even need to be on the fallers list. Like I said, he'd fall off a long time ago for sure.
Yeah, he was rostered earlier this offseason. So, you're right. Similar thing with Kirk Cousins. Like he's someone that's, you could say, faller only for the extent of he hasn't been traded. Like, no, you have the Saints starting Tyler Shuck.
Looks like show, sounds like shuck.
See, don't even know how to pronounce his name, and they don't want to trade for Cousins. Even I know they have cap problems. They could work it out if they really wanted to, but you have so many teams that aren't even touching him. He went from getting a giant deal to being a backup in half a season.
And also from a 500-yard, 4-touchdown Thursday night football to out of the league a month later. That was a catastrophic failure that needs to be studied.
And also, think about this. The Falcons went and paid all that money to get him, right? $100 million guaranteed or whatever. It might have been more than that, whatever it was. And then a month and a half later in the draft, they go, you know what, fuck it, let's spend our 109 or 110 or whatever that pick was on Penix. Even with a healthy Cousins in the building who they hadn't seen struggle yet, they still said, you know what, let's go grab this first round quarterback. With similar to the Browns, they have plenty of fucking needs. There was lots of people they could have took other than Penix at that point that probably would have helped them a lot more. But so it was like they saw something in Cousins. The way that my Eagles, when they drafted Jalen Hurts in the second, this whole fucking area erupted in madness and anger. What the fuck are we spending a second round pick on? We got fucking Carson Wentz. He was playing MVP ball at that point. Like
he was.
He was balling, man. You know, I got love for Carson Wentz, but it was the same thing. It's like the smart Eagles front office, the opposite of the Cleveland Browns front office, were like, you know what, this Wentz kid might be a problem. He might not be as good as we thought. This Jalen Hurts kid seems to have some fucking moxie in him, and we can get him in the second round. Let's make the smart move and polish up the Super Bowl ring and the 2 NFC Championship rings later. I think it was the right move. So the Falcons saw something, and I wouldn't be super surprised if Cousins ends up getting traded or whatever the case and starting again. I think he was injury riddled last year. I don't think he just forgot how to play football or just like went fully aged out. I think he just had physical issues, and he seems like the type of dude that he was like all about letting Penix go in and being like the coach hype guy for him. But he's clearly a faller at this point. Another buy, really. I mean, what do you got to pay to get Kirk Cousins on your Superflex roster in Dynasty? A third round pick, a waiver, a dart type of rookie wide receiver or something like that. So
I mean, it was 3 months ago. Cousins was trending. People were trying to buy him, saying, well, he's going to get traded somewhere. He's going to be starting somewhere. And then a week went by, then a month went by, and now we're starting our preseason games. We're like, okay, where are all these teams who said they were going to trade for Cousins? Like, come on. Like, so many people were throwing early seconds for Cousins.
Yeah.
Some people were doing that because, well, he's going to be a starter. That means he's got that value for me on my.
He was going to go to the Saints. He was going to go to the Steelers. He was going to go to the Jets, like before all the all these moves. So
Seattle.
Seattle before the Darnold signing. So definitely a faller, no doubt about it. And then
the Browns should call, shouldn't they?
I mean, if they need something else, they need another quarterback in that room. Jesus. Then we got Amari Cooper, who's definitely a faller. Again, not somebody that was really high to begin with, but we talked about this a few episodes back that, him and Keenan Allen should be locked and loaded to be on NFL teams. Well, guess what? Keenan's back with Justin Herbert. He's looking like a fucking great buy. And Amari Cooper still just sitting at home with his feet up.
And what I was thinking was Keenan Allen had been with the Chargers for so many years. He had those hometown roots to go back to. Amari Cooper doesn't have that. No. He doesn't have this team. He got traded away from the Cowboys. He went to didn't he go to the Browns or something before the Bills for a bit? Like,
let's get him on the
Browns. Yeah. I mean, he doesn't have this hometown team that he could just go back to retire with like Keenan Allen did. Like he's stuck in wide receiver limbo right now. And I think Keenan Allen signing is even a detriment to Cooper of, well, Keenan Allen finally got signed by a team that needed a wide receiver. Or you could say needed a veteran presence. Who's picking up Cooper now?
I mean, I think the league saw him in Buffalo last season. The Buffalo Bills traded a third for Cooper.
Really?
And then
I forgot it was that much.
It was a third round pick. The Bills used him for a month, and then now we're done with you. He had Cooper had a game against the Lions where he wasn't even targeted. He was dealing with a little bit of a wrist injury. He only missed a game or two, but I think we've seen the end of fantasy relevant Amari Cooper, and it was almost overnight. He had that monster playoff game the year prior. It was a 250 yards, 3 touchdowns receiving.
Yeah.
And then like a calendar year later, done.
Yeah.
And we've seen it over and over again, man. When players hit their cliff and they hit that wall, it just vanishes. I mean, you guys remember how instantaneously, like, AJ Green fell off? Remember how amazing AJ Green was? He
I
didn't even
loved
have,
AJ Green.
like, everyone did. How couldn't you? But he went from that guy's a locked in, like, top half of the first round draft pick in fantasy to just not in the league. Like, he just poof.
Yeah.
The Todd Gurley level vanishing act. Like, it happens, man. And Cooper, despite not being as old as Keenan Allen, Cooper is one of those dudes. I think Amari Cooper was 19, maybe 18 years old when he came into the NFL. I exaggerate, but he was legit. He was like 20. He was one of those like ultra young rookies that had crazy young breakout in college. So he had a pretty lengthy NFL career at this point. There's lots of players that never even came close to playing as long as Amari Cooper. So he has plenty of miles on him. I mean, I'd say, he might be, if you've got the bench space to do it in Dynasty, throw him on the bench. He might end up getting a job even like halfway into the season or whatever. I don't know, the latest that teams could bring in free agents, but, maybe some playoff push team loses a receiver and they bring him in just to be a vet presence or something, but hard to expect much out of him.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, he's 30 and has 10 years experience in the league, whereas Keenan Allen's 33 with 12. So, like, in that comparison, Allen's older, but I think Amari Cooper definitely has more wear and tear on his body. Definitely.
And then Marshawn Lloyd, a guy that hasn't, had a lot of good expectations, I remember a lot of people expecting him to get drafted higher in the NFL draft than he ended up being, but he was still a day 2 capital pick. A lot of excitement for him. Can't stay healthy. He's hurt again.
Yeah.
I didn't do the digging to see what the exact injury is, but I know he's just not playing. He's missing. We were talking about this before we started recording. This is as important of a time of the year for a young player or rookie, or in his case, he's a second-year player, but he's basically a rookie because he didn't sniff the field last year because he was hurt.
Yep.
Missing all this huge developmental learning period, and he's not getting in the good graces with the coaches or the coaching staff or his teammates because he's not on the field again. So I'm picking up Emmanuel Wilson where I can. I think that's the current backup to Josh Jacobs. Lloyd, man, don't cut him, but hard to expect much at this point.
It feels like he's in one of the cushiest backup roles in the league. I mean, he has hardly any competition. I couldn't have even named Emmanuel. I don't even remember.
Wilson.
Emmanuel Wilson. We're about to talk about 10 or 12 other teams that have a 4 or 5 way tie for that backup running back, and Lloyd has done nothing. And it's like, I would sell him immediately where there's still people that have a ounce of hopium. I don't think anything's ever going to happen there.
Yeah, it's all injury. There's nothing to do with the dude's talent or what he's done on the field yet because he hasn't fucking touched the field.
We don't know.
Yeah, I mean, he was going for a mid-second being drafted ADP wise last year, and some people were saying, with Josh Jacobs coming out of a horribly inefficient year with the Raiders, that some people were saying Lloyd is going to give Jacobs a run for his money, and then Lloyd didn't hit the field, and then it's okay. He's going to have a great. No, he's injured again. He's a faller in the extent of he's continually going down. Like, he's someone that expectations were high. He got injured. They came back injured, and it's just like you almost got to cut your losses at this point.
And Patrick, the only reason I know who Emmanuel Wilson is and where he is on that depth chart is I have pushed a few important things that my wife wants me to remember out of my brain. Remember who that 4th running back on the Packers is. So trust me, I'll get yelled at later down the line for knowing who he is.
Yeah,
no, that's good knowledge. That'll help you in week 15 when your season is on the line.
Yes, there you go.
And you need $1 $5 for
Emmanuel. Late for a week or two, but I'll know.
She'll thank you when it wins you more money.
I'll buy her something shiny with the championship money, and then I'm back in the good graces.
Marshawn Lloyd is definitely missionary. That's about as missionary as it gets.
Missionary's actually fun if you do it right. Marshawn Lloyd is just get him out of here.
Yeah.
He's a hand job. Marshawn Lloyd's a dry, unenthusiastic hand job.
Then our last faller, Chargers wide receiver, Keandre Smith. And the extent of he's a faller that he was getting hype over the last few weeks. And then the Chargers go and sign Keenan Allen again. And you're looking at the best case. You know, he previously before Keenan Allen, you could make a case he was going to be the wide receiver 3. You know, you have obviously Ladd McConkey. It's hard to say Keandre Smith is going to beat Trey Harris, the third round rookie that was drafted. I forget if it was second or third. And Quentin Johnston can't catch a ball to save his life. I mean, you could say he was going to be the wide receiver 3, and then Keenan Allen came in. So if Keenan Allen needs to be injured for Keandre Smith to see anything this year. And the extent of his value was low, it went up, and now it's back to where it was low. He's a recent faller in value.
Once upon a time, Keenan Allen was the most injury-prone player in the league, and all of a sudden, he's been very, very durable. I think Father Time might have caught up. I'm still all in on Keandre Smith. Some of the camp video, some of the camp truthers will make you believe that he's past Ladd McConkey as number 1.
Well, only time will tell. I think he's going to have a hard time seeing the field this year outside of injuries. But
you know who else is going to have a hard time seeing the field? Najee Harris. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, that was a good one. That was a good fucking dad joke. Like it. Hell yeah, man. We're like 40-something minutes in. We should probably get into the risers now.
Let's do it. Going to the positive side of things of who's actually gaining value right now.
So there we go, man. Started off, he gets the graphic Woody Marks. We got a injured Joe Mixon who is iffy for week 1, maybe even beyond. Mixon has 189,000 miles on his legs and all those touches. And so Woody Marks is a pass-catching specialist. He has, when you look at college running backs' reception totals, they're always like surprisingly low. You just don't see a lot of passes caught from college. Like if a college running back has like 30, 35 catches, that's considered like high for that thing. Woody Marks has a crazy amount. I didn't dig up the exact number, but
he has a ton.
Tons. He looks like a good NFL pass catching running back when it comes to his stats. So not that translates into him being some bell cow, and I don't think he's built to be a bell cow, but all the reports that I've seen from camp for the Texans is that Chubb has no burst. Chubb looks slow and old and coming off an injury. And the thing I like about Woody Marks a lot too is he was a day 3 pick, but they liked him so much that they traded a future day 2 pick to get him.
Yes,
so if you want to look at it like that, he's all but a day 2 pick, and he has all the opportunity in the world in front of him. He's an absolute worth buying at his lower price point at this point. In redraft, he's definitely worth a fairly late round flyer, which I think in your home leagues and a lot of redraft leagues, they're not degenerates like us. They don't even know who Woody Marks. Woody Marks might not even have one of those little stickers that you put on the board at your in-person drafts. So he is 100% worth grabbing.
Oh, yeah.
He could legitimately be the main running back for the Texans, who are a good offense this season. So, yeah, man, he's an easy riser for me.
Yeah, exactly. Just quick reiterate. Yeah, I've heard so much about Chubb. He lost a step. He doesn't have that burst. And with Mixon out, who else is there? I mean, Marks is someone I think we should have high expectations for in the extent of really rising in value as the season goes on in the first 2 to 6 games. That, for people who got him in the 3rd, 4th round of your rookie drafts, really going to have some time to benefit from that, either on your roster or selling him high before Mixon comes back. Like, definitely a good player to have on your team.
Absolutely. So number 2, another running back, another rookie, Dylan Sampson. Pretty easy here. Judkins, not even on the team yet, dealing with all this legal stuff. We touched on it already. Just by default, he's a riser. He a very good college player. A lot of my favorite college scouts, guys that do the scouting and do the research on the college ballers, loved him. In a lot of my my leagues that do the pre-NFL draft, rookie drafts and dynasty, I saw dudes taking Dylan Sampson in the second round because they were convinced that he was going to be a higher draft pick than he was.
Yep.
So guess what? Now he's got nothing but a Jerome Ford in front of him. Granted, we can rewind a little bit and see how much we dislike the Browns and how messy that situation is. But with running backs, volume matters almost more than talent, really, when it comes to fantasy football. And Dylan Sampson might be walking into just a massive volume role, albeit on a bad team. So yeah, he's an absolute riser. Anywhere you drafted him, late 3rd, 4th round rookie picks, seems like he's already paid that off in spades. Maybe you can even sell him and get a second for him or something like that, and double up and just take an instant profit on your rookie pick there.
Yeah. I think it'll take 2 to 4 weeks for him to really take over for Jerome Ford, unless Sampson really kicks it off hard in the preseason. But still, that's still some great value. If by the week 4, your 3rd, 4th round rookie pick ends up being a starting running back. Yeah, definitely a great player to have.
Yes. Saw something today that the Judkins camp waived their speedy trial privilege. He hasn't signed yet. I don't think Judkins plays at all this year, which sucks because I think I took him in the 4th round of the Scott Fish Bowl.
That's rough.
I took plenty of shares of him in the mid to later 1st round in my rookie drafts after all this bullshit broke, because he was the clear 106-ish to 109-ish. He was drafted all damn near in the 1st round.
Yeah, but like we said, I really liked Sampson. I was pretty disappointed when he ended up Judkins' backup. Like, oh my God. Like, no, now there's 2 running backs cannibalizing themselves on not a great team, although the Browns historically run the ball well. Could be a Nick Chubb thing. But yeah, Sampson's could be wheels up as soon as week 3, 4.
For sure. So we got another rookie, Jaden Higgins. Seems like the clear 2 on the Houston Texans. Christian Kirk is there. I think Christian Kirk is mainly a slot guy. Higgins is a big old not slot guy, so I think he should still be on the field a ton. Excellent college player, great draft capital. He was, I think, the 2nd pick of round 2, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he was up there.
So the draft capital is damn near day 1 draft capital. Plenty of positives about him, coming from all the rookie evaluators. So I don't see much to frown upon when it comes to Higgins.
Yeah, he's someone that I've slowly seen creep up dynasty draft boards, where he was going to the mid to late 2nd right after the NFL draft, and now you very rarely see him drop past like the 203. Is he slowly crept up in value, and then finally it looks like he solidified that wide receiver spot for Houston. He was always my wide receiver 4 for my rookie rankings. I had him in front of Bird, and I had him in front of Emeka Egbuka. Like, I think he's going to do some amazing things. And we talked a little bit about Nico Collins. He hasn't played a full season. If he goes out, all those targets are going to Higgins. And I think he's going to be a great surprise for dynasty and redraft. Like, I think his ADP for redraft is he's going in the 10th round. That if you can get someone who has potential to be the number 1 volume in targets, if Nico goes down in the 10th round, jump up to the 8th round, secure him, get him there. That that's some amazing value. I think people were surprised as to how fast Higgins has slowly rose in value.
He's also almost identical, like physical specimen to Nico, like height and weight wise, if I'm not mistaken. So it's just so perfect. If something happened to Nico, Stroud would just have the same player to throw the rock at and run the same route. So I mean, I definitely drafted plenty of Higgins. I think I told you this when it came to Higgins and Trey Harris. I was almost just flipping a coin every other rookie draft if I was in that early two, just so I didn't kind of overload one or the other. So yeah, definitely
exactly what I did.
Love some Higgins. Yeah, and again, you're right. It's such a good point is that Nico's never been healthy for a full year. Dude, Higgins could immediately just be stepping into an alpha wide receiver one role at any point this season.
This is probably the cheapest you'll be able to get Jaden Higgins, especially in Dynasty, because not only is he young and talented, there's a lot of older receivers that are just about to hit that cliff. You've got Devontae Adams, Mike Evans, Terry McLaurin, Tyreek Hill. Through just their aging out, Higgins could be a third or fourth round redraft pick next year. I think he's going to be like one of those overnight sensations that his price is going to be through the roof this time next year.
Yeah, agreed.
Next, we got Jaden Blue. The reports I've heard from different pods and different beat reporters and sleeper blurbs is that of the pretty messy Dallas backfield, Blue is the only one that's really putting any flash out there and catching people's eyes. So it makes sense when you're competing against Miles Sanders and Javonte Williams. I can't imagine Blue not getting drafted semi-late in every redraft league, and he's 100% rostered in dynasty leagues, but worth the shot. He didn't actually do anything on the field yet, and reports are still that Sanders and Williams are looking like they're going to get at least the start in the main roles week one. So he's another guy that this might be as cheap as you can get him, because if he ends up sucking or not getting any role, he's just worth cutting. So if you can get him at the current price, he's probably worth grabbing because he has a shot to be the main or at least highest scoring Dallas running back. Even if he's not the primary, every first and second down guy, he might just have a good role as a pass catcher and get you more points in PPR than Williams does. So I definitely like him buying. But yeah, plenty of positive reports coming out of camp that he's had some splash plays.
Yeah, I mean, he was drafted in the 5th round, 6th round, and he was someone when he was drafted, even right after the NFL draft, you weren't hearing much about him fighting for the starting job. You could get him undrafted in 4th round dynasty rookie drafts right after the NFL draft, even for a few weeks after. And now he's creeped up into the early 3rd, late 2nd. He's someone that has slowly risen to the extent of, we'll be talking about the Cowboys as a messy running back room, but that's because Blue has really shown he can compete with those other guys to potentially take that starting job. And that's just to show the rise in value that he has.
If he's not better than Miles Sanders, then, oh man, he is a cut in all formats.
I'll give you that.
Sanders had one good season in Philly, and that was 3 or 4 years ago. The Panthers signed him to a 4-year deal, cut him after 2. Yeah, I'm hoping – I've got a couple shares of Blue. He's got to be better than Miles Sanders.
Yeah, I hope so.
No doubt.
I feel like a lot of these risers are rookie running backs that are stamping their place next with Ja'Cory Merritt from Washington.
The Manders. We could arguably put him at number 1 on this list.
Yeah.
Just on the main podcasts and people I follow social media wise, he might be just the darling of preseason camp risers. Again, similar to a lot of these guys on the list we talked about so far, he's not competing against Barry Sanders here. He's got an old Austin Eckler and a pretty mediocre Brian Robinson in front of him. And all the reports are he is looking great. Coaches love him. He's getting some touches with the first team. And if I'm the Commanders coaches and management, why not? If this kid looks that good and he's a 7th round pick and they can have him under that cheap of a rookie contract for control him for 4 years, give him a shot. So he's definitely worth grabbing. The cat's out of the bag, though. People know about him. Like if anybody that's paying any attention and listening to any content, he's hyped up. So you're going to have to pay something to get him at this point. But if you were smart enough or lucky enough to grab him off of waivers, because he was a guy that never even got drafted really in rookie drafts. So he was the type of guy that if you were able to get him on dynasty waivers a month or month and a half back, man, enjoy. You got yourself one of those little lottery tickets in the preseason that's could really, really pay off.
Yeah. And you're right, that backfield is muddled. I mean, Brian Robinson Jr. got a lot of volume because of the coaches who drafted him who have now moved on. And so he's not going to get that favoritism and Eckler's old. There's talk about Eckler going to do punt team work that he could really, again, a lot of these running backs will probably take him 4 to 6 games to really start taking over. Similar to, I'm blanking, Buccaneers. Bucky Irving.
Yeah.
Similar to Bucky Irving, where it took him some time to take over, and then he just ran with it. Look at all of these running backs wait till week 6 before really saying, they're getting nothing. I need to sell them. Like, give it some time because they're going to get some merit to it.
Good, excellent pun there.
Yeah, he ran with it.
He had some merit, had some eligibility issues. I was reading about it leading up to the show. I guess he really got screwed last season and lost a whole year of play with some red tape, but he's a little older. He's already 24. He's way up there in near like RJ Harvey age. But if he keeps slipping under the radar, a lot of people don't believe in late round picks. He could still be available in a couple leagues, and I can't believe Austin Eckler has survived this long. I thought he was toast last offseason. He's hanging in there. It's good to see. He's a huge fantasy football fan. So, got to keep that community together. But yeah, Merritt could be that he's not out of nowhere anymore, but he could be a league winner just that quickly.
Yeah.
So our only non-rookie on our risers list, Demario Pop Douglas, sounding like the clear slot receiver for the New England Patriots, and more importantly, Josh McDaniels. That's what his name, Josh McDaniels, right?
McDaniels, yeah.
Mike in there. He has used the slot receiver more effectively than just about anyone ever. All the way back into the Wes Welker days.
Oh, I love me some Welker.
And then it's like Julian Edelman just exactly picked up where Welker left off.
Yeah.
It was funny. It was, they even were similar, like stature and everything. But
as a Pats fan, it took me a year or two to notice that there was a different player in that spot.
Like,
because Welker left. The same damn thing.
Yeah, man. So it's Demario Douglas has nothing but glowing reports coming out. Everybody's just saying he's the absolute slot guy there in an offense that features the slot. He's never really done a ton in the NFL. I think his finishes the last 2 years were like the wide receiver 50s or 60s or something like that.
Not amazing.
Here, just has some decent games, PPR games here and there, but still a pretty young dude. Still, all the reports are you want to get Demario Douglas as like a late round pick in your redraft, and love to grab him in Dynasty because he really isn't expensive yet. He's just of the last couple weeks with all these reports. I guess he's gotten a little bit more expensive, but not much, man. not a lot to hate there. He's not gonna break the bank trying to acquire in either dynasty or redraft. So he's a buy for me, definitely a riser for me.
Yeah, he's someone that in multiple of my leagues I could have gotten him off waivers 3-4 months ago. Like people were dropping him, and I think it's to the extent of he missed 3 games his rookie year, but in reality he was more injury ridden out of those 14 he played that there were high expectations, didn't meet it, and then Drake May was really coming into it. I really think, again, if he wins that, if he truly has won that starting slot receiver job, you can have some high expectations for him. He can be a flex player in your dynasty leagues easy, and a great replacement bye-week player in your redraft leagues if Drake May is going to really turn into the quarterback many people think he's going to be. I think he's a sneaky value that's slowly creeping up there this offseason.
I think my time of laughing at the Patriots and watching them suffer is about over. Vrabel's a great coach. McDaniels has been an amazing offensive coordinator, not so much head coach. Douglas, I've always liked Douglas. He's that not flashy meat and potatoes guy, like a Romeo Dobbs, like a Jacoby Myers, a Khalil Shakir, that he's a set it and forget it. But I shouldn't say fan. He seems like talent-wise in the right role, in the right situation. He's as steady as it gets, and with all of the Drake May talk, hype, he's as cheap as you could get for one of May's best weapons.
Yeah.
Looking at Pop's game log from last year, he had 7 double-digit games last year. One of them cracked 20. Most of them were 10 to 14, but take that all day on your bench or at a flex spot in a pinch for sure.
Yeah. Our final one, which we briefly talked about, being DJ Giddens. We might have been a little too soon putting him on after missing that block causing the Richardson injury.
If we made this list at 7:30, he's off.
Yeah. Maybe he's someone that now goes to the fallers, depending on how adversely the Colts think. Maybe he was given a little underhand money to miss that block on purpose. Maybe, but
who knows?
Yeah, he's a great receiving threat, and Taylor doesn't really catch the ball much. That if he can actually start blocking, who knows if he can. Right now he can't. He's someone that might PPR leagues might do you decently well.
I mean, the fact that they had him out there with their preseason week 1 first team offense, that they have him in high esteem, and I'm sure they expected him to pick up that pass pro, but rookies make mistakes. It happens. I don't think they're going to cut him over that, but certainly dings him a little bit. But we obviously put this out before that happened, so I think it's fair to call him a riser. And hey, maybe you can buy him a little bit of a dip here, but I think he's still the clear-cut 2 behind Taylor, or even a 1B for the pass catching role that Taylor doesn't do a ton of, because you've got Tyler Godwin. Is it Goodwin or Godwin? I think it's Goodwin.
I don't even know.
And who else is on the Colts? I mean,
Khalil Herbert. Khalil Herbert.
Not much. I mean, it's pretty clear that this dude is going to be the running back right behind Taylor with some sort of a role this year. So even tonight's mistake in tow, this dude is somebody to keep an eye on.
Yep.
All right, man. Well, there's the risers. Now we can get into some messy rooms.
Yeah. There's a couple of these running back rooms that are messy that we talked about. Some might want to start with those, quickly get those out of the way before really diving much into the others. The one first and foremost, a messy running back room is the Texans. I mean, again, you're looking at, we talked about it a ton, is Mixon, Chubb, not injured, not looking the same. Mark's rising up, but in reality, by week 6, it could be any of them that's leading the backfield. Like we really don't know, and it's whoever you want to hedge your bets on.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely said a ton about it when we were talking about Marks as the big riser there. I think for competitive teams in Dynasty, and I'd love to get a hold of Mixon at this point at a low point, because he's been very consistent, very healthy overall for the majority of his NFL career. He's been a top-end fantasy running back like 5 straight seasons. Even the ones that he's missed a couple games here and there with like an ankle sprain, he still puts together just rock solid week after rock solid week. And I don't think this injury that he's dealing with is super major. It might keep him out a couple weeks, but I'm pretty sure by week 3 or 4 at the latest, he's going to be back in there and getting the majority of the touches for them on a pretty solid offense with, an exciting rookie now to join alongside of Nico Collins, which should free up some running room for him. So I think Mixon's a buy, but it is messy. They're on this list for a reason.
And my thing that's difficult for it is with running backs, you run with the hot hand that if Mixon doesn't get back to week 4 or 6 and Marks or Chubb somehow getting back his step, if they're really rolling with it, how do you go back to Mixon if they're doing such a great job? Like that's what really makes this messy, is just how the running back position is so volatile of going with who's doing great right now.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't know what the Chubb contract is, how it's structured. If he's as slow and past his prime, is he a cut? Does he make it to week 1?
I think Chubb's deal was so minimal that the actual value never even got brought up. It was just kind of those. I think it was one of those like veteran minimum deals. Like it never even came up that he was getting like X amount for however many years. So yeah, he could absolutely be a cut. We could see a random free agent vet get brought in.
Yeah.
And Damian Pierce, man, I thought he was going to be so good.
Right.
Yeah.
He had a run at Florida. Oh, I think his helmet fell off, and he couldn't get brought down. It was like a run that made you want to go run through a brick wall, and it kind of pains me to see Pierce in this place. I hope he catches on somewhere, but anyone could come out of this running back room, and you'll have no idea what to do on draft day. You have no idea who to target. It's a mess.
That's why it's messy.
Yeah,
messy.
Similar extent to not talk about too much. We got the Cowboys, where we talked about Jaden Blue, who's coming up. You got him competing with Javonte Williams, who was a high draft capital but always injured. Miles Sanders, who had a great year with Philly, but that was probably mostly O-line. Like, it's just, again, week 1 starter, week 6, and week 16 starters probably all going to be different. And it's who we're hedging your bets with.
I would almost say in a redraft league, it'd be cool to just grab Blue and Javonte and just see how it shakes out. But in my very minimal redraft leagues, aka just the one anymore because I cut the rest of them out to make more room for Dynasty, I've got like 5 or 6 bench spots. I can't be wasting bench spots with 2 fucking mediocre running backs when I need to roster, functional players to fill in for bye weeks and injuries, or keep a spare defense that has a good matchup or whatever the case. So I'm pretty much just out on redraft. Maybe I'll just take a late round flyer on just Blue or just Javonte. In Dynasty, with usually much larger benches, I'm much more willing to do that and just make a move to get both of them. I'm excluding Sanders because I think he sucks. He's just washed. Other than when he ran behind the Eagles O-line, he's just trash. I don't see Sanders being anything other than just a guy on their roster. But on a Dynasty League with the bench space, I could pay the fairly low cost to get Blue and Javonte and just see how it works out.
Yeah.
But messy.
These 2 Texas teams with their running back rooms, I think they're going to throw and throw and throw
Yeah.
all day. They're going to look at that running back situation and we'll lean on Stroud and Dak. Thanks.
Yeah. Diving into our first running back room, we haven't even said their name, any of their names yet. One that's a little iffy. Got the Kansas City Chiefs. Who wants to lead us off?
Well, Pacheco is the guy with the highest ADP in this group.
I took down this one.
He's the one that's produced and put up numbers on the NFL field most recently for us. He's also a guy that I'm fucking scared of, and I kind of want no parts of at his ADP or dynasty cost, because he had a pretty major leg injury, like a broken leg, that he looked like shit after he came back or attempted to come back last year, and you're still having to pay a pretty decent premium. Like he's up there with the other running back twos, the guys in that 18 to like 24 running back range, and I want basically all of them over Pacheco at this point. He also had shit draft capital. The Chiefs let fucking Clyde just walk away after spending a first round pick on him. They spent nothing. I think he was either a free agent or a 7th round pick.
Yeah, 6 or 7.
The Chiefs could be done with him after week 3. So he scares me. I'm not paying not that he's expensive, but he's too expensive for me, so I want no parts of Pacheco. And then you got Kareem Hunt. He might just be the best one to own because he's just dirt cheap and he can get in the end zone from the 2-yard line. And the Chiefs will probably get down to the 2-yard line enough times to make him, a desperation flex. And we have Elijah Mitchell. I like him. I rostered a bunch of him. He was on a lot of dynasty waivers this year, and he ended up, even after he ended up signing with them. So he's interesting to me, but just muddies the water more, again, while we're talking about it being messy. And then there's a rookie, Brashard Smith, a very late rookie pick, 7th round pick that a lot of people are buzzing about, that he could have a pass catching role, if not, a main role with how messy this backfield is. So this is one that I just kind of want no parts of outside of give me some Hunt and give me some Mitchell and give me some Smith for the super cheap on dynasty teams. And God, for redraft, I can't imagine wasting a precious bench spot on any of them.
Yeah. It's a backfield. At first I was like, it's pretty clear cut. And then I'm like, no, not really. I think the lead back is eventually going to be Hunt. I think before the injury, Pacheco, the best way I heard it described, Pacheco ran angry. He just plowed over people, and
he was fun.
He was so fun to watch. But then with the leg injury, he didn't have that. And unless he really picked that back up in the offseason, if the Chiefs got him back too soon, I think he might be cut next offseason, or he just might be let go if his rookie contract's up, and Hunt could lead the backfield. And I think Brashard Smith, so many people kind of akin to Pacheco, where the Chiefs can take this late round running back and make something out of it that people are, I don't put much merit to that now. It might be something, but I think it's really Hunt's backfield come week 8. Once the Chiefs finally realize Pacheco isn't doing much. That same thing happened with Clyde Edwards-Helaire, where he was that first-round pick. He was getting all this volume, and then the Chiefs realized he can't do crap. Pacheco can, and they just slid right over to Pacheco. They had no problem. The Chiefs are one of the teams that have no problem to put the best player out there regardless of draft capital. And that's really what happened with Pacheco, and I think that's going to maybe slide over again, but I think it'll have a hard time not starting Hunt.
That's exactly why I mentioned it. I took a lot of heat. I said that Pacheco is a surprise cut. A lot of people disagreed. Bookmark it, make fun of me. It'd be a reach, but it's the exact same setup, like you guys said. Brashard Smith is Isaiah Pacheco, a 6th round pick, churn and burn. They signed Elijah Mitchell the second day of free agency. The second day. That shows a little bit of urgency. Not for nothing. I mean, they brought Hunt back. It's not as cut and dry as some people think.
Yeah. I don't think Pacheco will be cut this season. I think next offseason, and again, I don't know if this is the last year of his contract or what, but I think I'd be surprised if he's on the Chiefs again next year if how he ended the season is how he plays this year. But he's someone that was really fun to watch, but now is dropping off.
Yep. I'm just out. I'm just out on this backfield. Take those cheaper guys in Dynasty, but lots of other ways to spend your assets.
Next one, we got another one. All these almost seem to have a rookie that's really up and coming with some vets trying to figure out what's happening. What do we make of the Giants? What's happened with their backfield?
Well, the first thing to say about the Giants' backfield is they're a bad team. And in general, you don't really want the running back on a bad offense unless they are like a heavy volume pass catcher. And that's just not my opinion. That's just to look at the history of fantasy running backs. The only ones that ever finish on the higher end, low running back 1, high end running back 2 that are on terrible teams are guys that have, like Christian McCaffrey, his rookie year and second year on a shit Panthers team, but he just caught 80 to 100 balls. Outside of that, you get no scoring opportunity on shitty offenses. So this is a mess. Cam Scatterbo is hurt. We were doing a little digging. His injury is very vague at this point, but we seem to have discovered it's a lingering hamstring injury from like early in the offseason program. He's not practicing the last couple days. Tyrone Tracy was a pleasant surprise for fantasy last year. He came in, just didn't really wow anything, but he got plenty of volume and was a feasible running back 2 on your rosters from pretty much the halfway point, even maybe a little bit earlier, straight through the end of the year. And then you still have Devin Singletary here, who is someone that NFL teams and coaches just seem to love. Like, he's that guy, just knows the playbook, and he's healthy and reliable, and he'll take some touches. So this is one where I don't mind rostering any of the 3 of these guys. More so than the Chiefs guys. They're kind of a void for me. I'll take any of these 3 guys at their cheap price for Dynasty, for redraft. I don't want Singletary, but Scatterbo, Tracy, do you really want them with where you have to buy them either? It's like there's probably some players on the board in redraft I want over both of them. Either one could be the main guy. They could both suck. The Giants could just suck. They probably do suck. Messy, man.
In Dynasty, I'm taking Scatterbo. I think he's going to do some great things, but this injury is, again, concerning. Tracy did some good things with the volume last year. He didn't do he didn't do amazing things. I had people saying no to a first-round pick and that they wanted to keep Tracy, and I thought they were crazy. And it seems like the volume's gone down on that for sure. Like, I never understood that, but yeah, I mean, in redraft, it's one of those backfields where maybe that last spot or 2 on your 5-man bench, you want to take one of these guys on, but anything before that is just almost too risky because of the investment of, you might pick the wrong guy and the other guy's on waivers and you're better off just waiting.
And guess what? They're not going to be around to be your last bench pick. Someone reading from their, fantasy football magazine they bought at the grocery store is going to go, oh, well, these guys are the starters for the Giants, and I need a running back. And they're going to take them in 5 rounds before the end of the draft. So yeah, they're redraft wise, I highly doubt I would own either. Dynasty for sure. Scatterbo's the one you would prefer. He did flash. He was making some plays in the no pads practices before this injury flared up again. And I'm not, and I don't really want to rip Tracy. He's the guy there for now. I'm quite sure he'll be like the the running back on the field for week 1, snap 1, and if he does well enough and he holds up in pass pro, he'll probably be the main running back unless something weird happens. So not that they're not worth having, but not in redraft, and I'm not expecting too much from any of them.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite stats. Tyrone Tracy had more 100-yard games last year than Breece Hall. And the running back rooms we've talked about have been so messy, and there's no clear-cut guy. I think Singletary gets cut. This might be one of the clearest rooms, and one of the least sexy, but Tracy's done enough. Like, I'm a truther. I'll ride or die with that one. Had to get in a little positive note. Had to get the good news on Tyrone Tracy. But yeah, it's getting, like Brian said, it's too expensive, but not as ugly as some other running back situations. There's a little more clarity, although the clarity is still mud.
Yeah.
Fair.
I think the last and final running back room, I think, is a lot messier than this with what it has. What about the Jaguars?
Yeah.
Might be the messiest of them all.
Yeah.
Everybody's there's so many opinions, and
right. I've heard so much. Tank Bigsby's the guy now. He's was the best runner last year. He looks the best in camp. But how excited can you possibly be about Tank Bigsby? I can't. I just can't do it. I mean, ugh. And then I found myself going into this offseason looking at ETN as a buy because I like what he did in college. I like the big year that he had when he had the opportunity. But if Bigsby really is getting the looking better and getting more than half of the snaps, that ain't great for either of them. And then Bayshaw, however you say it, Tootin. What a fun last name. He was a combine darling, ran a wildly fast 40. Looked great in most of the drills from what I remember. He was as high of a day 3 pick as you can get. It was like him and Scatterbo might have been the first 2 picks, I think, of round 4. He's a smaller guy. I don't think the Jaguars would just go, all right, you two are done. Let's just make this the Baishal Tootin show. But I think it's probably the messiest of the 3 because I think all 3 of these guys might just get interchange left and right, and we might have one week where it's like ETN gets all the work and has a 20-point game and a touchdown, and then we're hyped to put him in the flex spot, and he gets 3 touches the next week because game script had them in the lead, and they gave Bigsby 20 carries for 80 yards, and then Tootin didn't touch the field, and yeah, we saved the messiest for last. I think this is fucked.
Yeah, I mean, I'd agree. I think it's almost the opposite of like Houston. Houston is you have so many injuries that who's going to be the healthiest. Whereas I think here it's game script and the hot hand is. I think you hit it on the nails. One week a guy's going to get 100 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns. The next they'll get 3 attempts because someone else is really hitting it off. Like that. That's the worry about where this is messier. Is you're not waiting on someone to come back from injury. It's who the hell is leading this backfield? Like I just had a redraft league. We just drafted a guy. Took Tank Bigsby as his running back 1 because he's that sure that Bigsby is going to lead. And he waited till rounds 8 or 9 to get a running back. And you only need to start 1, but he took his running back 1 because he's so sure. And I'm like, how can you be so sure on that?
There had to have been a better running back on the draft board in round 8 than fucking Tank Bigsby.
I didn't look. I would think so as well. But I mean, I think a year or 2 from now, I think Tootin's up there. I think ETN will leave at the end of his rookie contract. I don't think Bigsby's gonna really take it over. But this year, I don't feel comfortable starting any in my flex right now, and I don't know if we'll get to that point.
In a world where draft capital is so important, Etienne's a first-round pick, Bigsby is a third-round pick, and Tootin is a fourth-round pick. Etienne had a top 5 running back finish in 2023. This is Tank Bigsby's third season. He's going into his third. I think a lot of people thought he was a rookie. This is his third season. Bigsby didn't even see the field his rookie year.
Yeah.
Was Etienne having a monster year? Yes, but Bigsby could have came in for a spell here and there. Bigsby's reign at running back 1 on the Jaguars was very short-lived. He had 2 100-yard games last year while Etienne was hurt. Bigsby almost lost the starting role back to Etienne last year because Bigsby only had 1 game of over 15 touches after his big mid-season rush. And then Bigsby was so good, they drafted Tootin in the draft. I don't know what to make of this mess. I still think talent will prevail. Etienne's the best. There's a wild card of Liam Cohen coming in. Does he keep the exact same playbook and just drive up by 4, switch the logos out? Is there a Bucky Irving lying in wait in Bigsby or Tootin? Maybe. I don't think so. My money's on Etienne, and I cannot figure out why people are so high on Bigsby and Tootin.
I think when you get to your third or fourth year, draft capital doesn't matter as much, especially for running backs. I mean, we've seen running backs, first-round running backs tend to do better, but when you're referencing draft capital, running backs, it doesn't matter nearly as much as quarterback or to some extent wide receiver. That when you're talking about, this is Etienne's third, fourth year. I think that tapers expectations more than anything. That I do think it's really anyone's ball game here. I think if I was a betting man, Bigsby I'd bet as a third, and then it's a 50-50 for the others. But I really think this is one of the backfields where it's just the hot hands. One person will start more than likely, but if someone comes in and rips a couple good ones, it'll go straight to them the rest of the game. It's not going to matter who's going to start. It's going to matter who does well.
You think Travis Hunter plays some snaps at running back?
Well, that 9.5 over-under touchdown thing suggests he might get a couple fucking rushing touchdowns.
Yeah, true.
So, other positions have messy rooms too. And we've got some messy wide receiver rooms coming into the season here. And the first one we want to bring up is the Chicago Bears. Talent, not a problem for this room. Not a problem for this offense. We've got one of my favorites, DJ Moore. We've got a super highly touted top 10 drafted receiver from last year, Roma Dunze, who had some flash games, but certainly was a letdown for where he was drafted.
Yeah.
And then they go ahead and they draft a second round receiver in Luther Burton, who's a lot of people's sleeper, and he is also hyped up by some people I've heard to be the most likely to take the Amon-Ra St. Brown role in the Ben Johnson offense. So this also doesn't even touch on the fact that they have Colston Loveland, who was drafted in the top 10 at tight end, who's a premierly pass-catching tight end, and DeAndre Swift, who catches a lot of balls out of the backfield. Oh, and Cole Kmet is there as well. So this isn't just a messy wide receiver room. This is a messy offense. And
yes,
for my guy DJ Moore, I love him. I just want him to have that Amon-Ra role, but this is a mess, and we still don't know if Caleb is really that generational guy that we thought he is, and we don't know if Ben Johnson can do this without that amazing offensive line and skill room that he had with the Lions. So this one's way up in the air, man, and I've said enough so far. What do you guys think about the old Chicago Bears? The Bears.
This is one that kind of hits home. I live in Bear country, so I see the Bears every week. It's definitely one that's very interesting to kind of dissect and understand, especially with the new head coach, what's going to happen with new offense. You draft Loveland in the first, you draft Burden in the second. Kmet is on a $50 million contract. Dunze was a top 10 pick. Like, you got so much going on offensive wise here. Sure, it could be like the Lions last year where you got like 4 good players that you can start fantasy, but maybe not. It's something where I think the most consistent person that's going to be here is definitely got to be DJ Moore. I think he's going to be a focal point of the offense. I think there's going to be some amazing play design to really get him open and in space. I expect big things from DJ Moore. I think Adunze is really going to pick up. I don't see him finishing wide receiver 50 like he did last year. I know a lot of people are thinking Luther Burden is going to really fit that Amon-Ra St. Brown role in the slots. I personally don't think that's going to happen. Outside my wide receiver model, not calling Burden to do much. He had this great sophomore year and he really fell off junior year. And even if you take into account all these other metrics and the bad offense for passing in college for Burden, it's all hope for him, really, for me. But what I want to kind of point out is Houston last year is when you go to Houston, it's almost a similar idea of what this situation was. Is in Houston last year, it's Stephon Diggs, Nico Collins, Tank Dell, all great wide receivers. And what did Stephon Diggs do? He moved primarily into the slot for the first time since his first 2 or 3 years in the NFL. Is mostly he was out wide and he moved into the slot and they had some great plays for him there. Is I almost wonder if DJ Moore, or even to get Adunze open more, if one of those guys starts playing more time in the slot, getting one of your bigger, better wide receivers open, and Burden becomes that gadget guy. So I'm not as high on Burden as many people are. I think, again, really that I wouldn't be shocked if Adunze or Moore spend more time in the slots. We saw that happen with Diggs. I think Johnson's going to do that to get those guys the ball. But again, Loveland's there, but Loveland's injured and Kmet has this big contract. Like, there's so many guys in that offense that even if Adunze does well, can he start well enough on your team because of where all the other passes are going to go? All these other guys are going to get targets. Like, it's such an interesting offense to look at that. Again, I think your boy DJ Moore is the only one you can consistently look at receiving room until halfway through the season when we get more clarity as to what the hell is going to happen here. Like, I did not expect the Bears to pick 2 offensive receiving threats the first 2 rounds this last draft, and that just threw a giant monkey wrench into this team.
On top of Adunze, they go Loveland, Burden, and it's like, what are you going to do? It's like you said, the only safe thing is Moore, and everybody else you feel like is going to cannibalize themselves. Ben Johnson could be a wizard, but how many more plays are they going to run? I looked up. The Bears ran the 13th most plays last year at 1,065. They have the 4th best offensive line per PFF, which I was surprised. I didn't think their O-line was that good. DeAndre Swift is a lot better.
They improved a ton.
They did a lot of offensive line trades and such this offseason, and they needed it so badly.
They brought in like the best free agent lineman available, and then traded for another. So they should have a better line. And as I hate to disagree with what you just said, Patrick, because I am the most fucking DJ Moore loving dude ever. He's not the safe option. We don't even fucking know that. With all these other pieces around there and a new coach coming in, it might be the Rome Odunze show or the fucking Colson Loveland show. Trust me and the 8 trillion DJ Moore shares I own really, really need him to be the fucking main safe piece. But we literally don't even know that. So it's like,
yeah,
this this is why we're bringing them up first in the messy wide receiver room. It's just the messy fucking offensive room, man. This isn't even. This is stretches beyond wide receiver.
It's the opposite
messy
of
but fun. Messy but fun. There's messy, but
yeah,
It's fun.
Messy.
I was about to say the opposite of the Browns. The Browns are a messy offense of I don't want to touch this pile of garbage, whereas the Bears are as if you're mining for gold and you know there's going to be gold somewhere, but it's which spot's going to have it. Which of these guys is going to be the guy you're starting?
Speaking of the Browns, you probably wouldn't believe that they ran the most plays in the NFL last year.
What?
They did. The Browns.
Yes,
Wow.
11-18 tied with the Lions. I could not believe it.
Yep.
1,118 shitty plays.
Yep.
Sorry, Browns fans.
Last thing I want to touch on with the Bears wide receiver room here is this came up in our wide receiver KTC ranking show. Rome Odunze is like wide receiver 19 or 20 at this point, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah, him and DJ Moore are back to back around there.
No, DJ Moore was like 9 spots lower.
It was like 21 and 28 or something. Yeah,
and this is dynasty, not like current ADP for redraft or anything. But I bring this up to say I will have 0 Rome Odunze shares at that fucking price. Who knows? Maybe he ends up being the rock star that he was drafted to be. But wide receiver 20, shit. Give me lots of stuff over him or 2 pieces that equal that over that. I am not drafting him mainly because of everything we just talked about. We have no clue what's going on here in this shit show. We don't even know if Caleb Williams is even that good yet. Let's also throw that into the mix of how messy this room is.
Yeah. We don't know the roles, we don't know the target share, and we don't really know how good they are. We don't know how good Odunze is because he didn't get a ton of shares. He was splitting targets with Moore, Allen, Komet. You have 3 relatively unknown players that we're putting a lot of faith in.
Yep.
DJ Moore is the only one that I know is absolutely a good NFL player.
Yeah.
I've seen it year over year. But he might get lost in the mix here. He might be lost in the shuffle, and he becomes like the 3rd option on this. It makes me sick to my stomach, man. Can we go to the next?
This will make you sick to your stomach still too, but we'll go a little farther north. What the hell are the Packers? And like, you could name 5 wide receivers in the wide receiver room, and any of them could end up being the wide receiver 1 and 2. Like, it's almost as if they have a ton of boomer bust players, and they drafted another one. In my opinion, I think Matthew Golden's going to be boomer bust. That they just, if we get a bunch of boomer bust people, someone's going to boom every game, and then we're going to win. Like, they're not picking any consistency in wide receivers. That they got a bunch of mediocre guys that have a potential higher ceiling, but it seems like they never can get to that.
I gotta say, first and foremost, I can't stand that Matthew Golden is wearing number 22 as a wide receiver. How gross does that look?
That's a show in itself.
Like, hey, Emmett, why is Emmitt Smith playing wide receiver?
Yeah.
What the fuck? I hate it so much. And I just had to get that off my chest. But as far as
I think Sky Moore wore 24, and that's why he sucked.
Is that even on the Chiefs anymore? Oh, seriously, 22 as a fucking wide receiver, disgusting. But it's so shitty. Who knows what they're doing? Who do you want to put in your lineup week 1 in your redraft team? I don't think any of them. I'll put Golden or Reed in a starting spot like as an emergency. I certainly, they shouldn't be on waivers. I don't want to cut either of them, but I just have no faith in starting them. I'll call this a best ball wide receiver room. Give me all of their top 4. Give me Reed, Golden, Wicks, and Dobbs on my big best ball rosters, and I'll take the one that does something that week, but I'll be damned if I want to put any of them confidently into my lineup. I didn't hear much great stuff about Golden. Your wide receiver model didn't like him, if I recall. Barely any production in college until his final year, and it wasn't even a big final year. He just had a big final couple games, I think we were discussing.
Yeah. It was the last 4 to 6, and really his big game was one of the, I don't know if it was the college playoffs or it was a highly publicized game where he went off, and that with him running a fast combine, people just jumped on him, and that's a recipe for disaster, in my opinion. Like, you see a combine person go up, he has a big game on a big stage, and when we look at the rest of him, I mean, and even looking at a redraft ADP, Jaden Reed and Golden are right around that 40 to 45 wide receiver mark there, being drafted ahead of Pearsall, Mooney, Josh Downs, Egbuka, Jaden Higgins, Trey Harris. Like, I think I'd take every one of those guys over anyone in the Green Bay room.
I just started doing redraft mocks to get prepped for my main redraft league here, which the draft is in a few weeks. I think the last one I did, Golden and Reed are literally back to back. So no one knows who to call the one. I don't know, man. It's a mess. Like I said, I'm kind of in a void for me in redraft. I'll take them if one of those two is there a good bit past ADP. They can certainly be like bench depth for me, but these guys are really, I wasn't kidding. They're great best ball. Give me any of these guys, all of them even as best ball, because one of them is bound to have a good week. But I'll be who knows who it's going to be.
Exactly. I'll take him in best ball, but in anything else, it's a hard pass.
Their wide receiver room almost resembles like Cleveland Brown behavior. You draft Christian Watson high. Christian Watson.
We didn't even talk about him.
Really good. All of his success was tied to Trey Lance's good year at North Dakota. Jaden Reed looks good, and then they inexplicably just quit throwing to Jaden Reed almost altogether. Romeo Dobbs looks solid. Reed's dropping the ball. Dobbs looks solid, and then they don't use Dobbs to the degree that Dobbs complains about his playing time and gets benched. Wicks can't catch. They draft Golden, who, like we said, had like 4 to 6 good games. He just came out of nowhere in the draft process. This is just stinky cheese through and through.
And Wicks can't catch, but then he'll have a 2-touchdown, 30-point game.
Yeah,
it's maddening.
Don't forget, in the 4th or 5th they drafted Savion Williams too, like just throwing another wide receiver in there.
Like
third round they drafted him.
Yeah,
what are they doing?
There's a lot of talk that he might actually get some run and put in the running back room, because that's kind of what he did. But you're right. He's listed as a wide receiver, so yet another fuckery. And we didn't even bring up Christian Watson. He's not dead. He's just on PUP, but it's pretty common knowledge that he's going to be back at some point, maybe week 4, 5, 6. And then there's yet another, messy aspect to what's going on in this room. So the best ball Packers is I'm just going to deem them until further notice.
Yeah, I mean, what would Christian Watson's career be like? I'm 95% sure this was him. The first or second play of the season during Christian Watson's rookie year, they ran a deep route. Rodgers threw a beautiful ball
right in his hands,
and he dropped it. Like, what would Watson's career be like if he caught that ball? He would have instantly gotten Rodgers' stamp of approval, and he would have been side by side with Devontae Adams. And instead, he got relegated and now can't stay healthy. Like, what difference would just that one catch have made?
There's a shot that if he catches that ball, Aaron Rodgers is still a Packer.
Yeah,
a non-zero chance that happened.
Yeah, and Adams would still be there. Like,
I remember that very clearly.
Yeah,
him dropping that ball and the classic fucking stink eye that Rodgers just gave. The camera. Of course, the camera cuts to him. It's almost like watching The Office when fucking Michael Scott says something stupid. They pan over to Jim, and Rodgers just like.
Yep. I don't think Rodgers looked at him the rest of the game.
Nope. He was like, you know what? That was the final straw. I was thinking about leaving Green Bay.
Yeah.
Now. Oh yeah, man. It's. Christ, I literally forgot Christian Watson existed until 5 minutes into this talk about how messy this room is.
Yeah.
Unreal.
And then the final messy wide receiver room we got is old. There's a holdout potential. It's a great up-and-coming offense, which makes it even more difficult. Got the Washington Commanders.
Washington Commanders. I want to point out before we talk about the receivers, the Commanders is stupid. They should have kept Washington football team. I love that. I thought the logo was clean. The uniforms were clean. It just sounded right. Had that like European soccer vibe to it. Like it just worked. Washington
Football.
Commanders football team. Yeah, I don't know. I always like that. Maybe that's a hot take. Maybe that no one else felt that way, but I did like the Washington football team. But yeah, man, this team, we've got Terry on the holdout requesting the trade, and he's like officially holding out. Like he's not reporting, right? He's getting fined every day. Or no, sorry, they put him on PUP. He had a injury. His wallet is hurt, and he's now on PUP instead of holding out. I think they have to do the right thing. Give him a big front-loaded contract.
Yes.
Give him a year or two where he's making DK Metcalf, Cortland Sutton, top of the market money for 2025. He fucking earned it. He's been awesome. He's been kicking the shit out of my Eagles, even with bad quarterbacks, his entire career. I have nothing but love for Terry. I've got him in a lot of places. But just fucking pay him, man. You've got this amazing rookie quarterback, still making rookie quarterback money. Pay up for guys like Terry, his favorite receiver, while you can, because let's face it, Jaden Daniels is going to get a mega payday, and you won't be able to afford to pay receivers like this. So pay Terry what he's due. Give him a front-loaded 1 or 2 year deal. If that happens, I'm way less worried about this room. If they get Terry in place real soon, and I mean in the next fucking week or so, and Terry can be there for the majority of preseason and get acclimated, I'm not as worried. If Terry's not there for more than a week, or he gets traded or moved or holds out into the season, yikes. We got
you got injury-prone Deebo Samuel, then, who's the 3? A lot of people think it's Jalen Lane. You got Michael Gallup there. Luke McCaffrey had some buzz. Yeah. I had to pull up the roster to be like,
right.
Gallup's on their team. Gallup. What? Like, it scraps after Deebo Samuel, who is injury prone. That if you can't tie up McLaurin, Deebo gets injured. You're looking at Daniels scrambling for his life because no one can get open, and you're just relying on his legs, or the running backs, which again are iffy. Like
they were in our earlier messy segment.
Yes. Yeah, like it's something where you really need to get McLaurin paid and hope Deebo stays healthy, or else it's going to be very messy here.
As an Eagles fan, I'd like to point out that it does make me somewhat happy that the Manders happen to make both position messy rooms. We had a messy running back and messy receiver room, so that's good for my hometown Birds. Go Birds! But yeah, not great for fantasy, Bob.
No.
Wasting Daniel's prime. Oh man, like life's gonna get hard really soon when you're paying Jaden Daniels $150 million.
Not so much prime, but his rookie contract. Like that's a huge thing. The years that you have, the earliest remembrance I have of this in today's salary cap was what the fucking Seahawks were able to do when Russell Wilson was on his rookie deal.
Mm-hmm.
They just loaded everything else and just rode that out and got to pay Russ, $600,000 a year or whatever it was, and had this beast mode team around him, no pun intended, and won a Super Bowl and got to another one. You got to take advantage of this if you're Washington. If you've got this rookie quarterback making 1.7 mil a year, fucking pay Terry, man. What are we doing here?
Exactly. Now's the time to pay your other guys and front load their contracts. So backloading when they're not as much is when you pay Daniels. Like, you just got to pay him, man.
It's so stupid. It's the wrong way to run a front office. It's like the opposite of what my beautiful Howie Roseman does with the Eagles, man. They pay people what to do. They jump ahead in contracts. They give dudes like Devontae Smith their proper bag before the market goes up, whereas teams like the fucking Cowboys and Jerry hold off on paying people and let the market go up and then give Lamb a giant contract after the price went up.
Yeah.
Just idiotic, man. But we're talking about the messiness of the receiver room. I try to point out a positive or two here. If Terry ends up walking or holding out, Debo, as old and chubby as he's gotten, he immediately becomes a relevant factor in all formats because he's the instant wide receiver one in that room.
Yep.
Zach Ertz is 1,000 years old. I mean, he's as old as players get, but he's reliable. He's a clear favorite target of Daniels. If Terry's not there, I don't do personal rankings, but Zach Ertz becomes like a top 6 or 7 tight end to me if Terry's not there week one. Yeah. I could see Zach Ertz having 11 catches for 97 yards week one if Terry's not there. And, Jalen Lane, Luke McCaffrey, they become semi-relevant for sure, but I just pray they get Terry in there and let's clean this up.
If McLaurin doesn't sign, how far down should Jaden Daniels be moved? If he's only throwing to Deebo Samuel, who's had 2 top 30 finishes at wide receiver, I love Daniels' talent. This could be a horrific year. I mean, McLaurin has to sign, right? It could be a disaster. Like, Washington will get that one nice thing, and then it's gone.
I think you move Daniels down a little, but not much. I think with the running back room, he's going to get drop-offs there. I think with how he can run, he might run a little more, and that'll get you more points than passing. Maybe a little, but for fantasy purposes, I think he'll score similarly because it'll be more dump passes and rushing, which will get you similar points. It's more how it factors into the other players as to what happens with McLaurin.
Daniels would move into almost avoid or do not draft territory for me, at least for like this year redraft, because I think with redraft, so many redraft leagues are not full of like die-hard digging deep stats people that Daniels will still go as quarterback 3 or 4, because people will go by the magazines and they'll go by the ESPN ADPs and this and that, and Daniels will still get drafted up there. And I feel like if he doesn't have Terry, or they don't trade Terry for Tyreek Hill or some crazy blockbuster like that last second to get it done, and he does not have an elite weapon, I don't want him at that price.
Yeah,
he might finish up there, but I don't want him there. I don't like drafting quarterbacks that high in 1 QB redraft leagues anyway. You take Terry away, but he's still getting drafted up there near Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson and Jalen Hurts. Nope, I'm good. I'll pass on him. I'll take Jalen Hurts, Joe Burrow, whatever round later. I'll take Josh Allen a round earlier or something like that. But I'll probably have 0 J-Day if he doesn't have Terry when it comes to redraft. I'll buy the dip on him in Dynasty, though. If he takes any type of dip for Dynasty because of this, and he starts falling below the 5-6 or something like that, fuck yeah, because he's young as hell and he's their franchise guy, and they'll figure it out and there'll be a new Terry eventually. But for redraft, I don't really want any parts because he's going to still be expensive.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
I hope they get Daniel some exciting pieces soon. Debo's not going to cut it. Zach Ertz isn't going to cut it.
Not long term. Not at all.
Ertz is getting Social Security next year. It's amazing he's still in the NFL.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, if Terry's not there, he's going to have fucking 10 or 11 catches for 90 yards week 1.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Ertz is a great tight end to have, especially if Terry goes out.
Do we have another messy wide receiver room after this one? I forget.
That's it. That's all of them. That's a cut and wrap.
Messy. I feel like I need a shower after, all the messiness. Like there's like shit, like my fingers feel like I was handling like something dirty or something. I don't know. Ugh.
I feel like for talking about stuff that's so messy,
honorable mention would be the Saints.
Oh God, the Saints are just a messy franchise. They could have been like 1B with the Browns for our fallers. Good Lord.
Yeah.
Tyler Shuck. And they're still not even sure if he's the guy. It might be fucking Spencer Rattler.
Yeah. Who knows?
Throwing to a hopefully recovered from injury Rashid Shaheed. My God. Yeah. What a. Yeah. Ugh.
Yeah.
I always feel like with how much nastiness we talked about, I need to watch like 20 to 30 minutes of Barry Sanders YouTube highlights before I go to bed to like make me love NFL football again. Because let's just make
watch some preseason football.
Because I don't want to do that more than once a year.
Yes. Yeah. It's something we got to talk about, but something that's also rough to talk about.
It's like going to your team for your yearly checkup. You just got to get it out of the way. You got to do it.
Hopefully, steered you away from a bad decision on draft day or rejecting a trade you may have otherwise accepted. There's a lot of yuck. There's a lot of bad, and some teams just can't avoid the bad year over year.
Yep.
They just don't learn.
Bad franchises tend to stay bad. Cleveland Saints, Giants. I'm just saying, there's some bad ones out there.
True.
And I guess before we say bye, I would just like to point out I did get my Hollywood Hulk Hogan shirt in time to keep the wrestling T-shirt streak alive. I was torn between getting a classic yellow and red Hulkster Hulkamania type of shirt, and I was like, you know what? Give me heel bad guy Hulk Hogan because that's fun. I'm a bad guy, always been.
I like it. Awesome.
Good stuff, man. Well, we will check back in with you next week as always. From my boys, Mr. Oviedo,
been
wide
fun.
receiver, Castle Black. We'll catch y'all next week.
See you later.